Ladies and gentlemen, meet the brand new Kia Telluride. It is the largest car that Kia has ever built. And the question is, how much would you pay for a vehicle that can transport 7 or 8 people in comfort, has optional all-wheel drive, has about every safety and creature comfort feature you could think of, including, get this, heated and vented second row seats. And coming up in this review, we're going to take it on the road, we're going to take it off-road, and we're going to see if this car is as good as I hope it is. And that is coming up right now. You can get your Kia Telluride in any engine configuration you love, as long as it's this one. That's right, there's only one engine choice. It's this new 3.8 liter V6, puts out 291 horsepower, 262 pound-foot of torque, and it's mated to an 8-speed automatic. What's missing? Obviously, it's a turbocharger. This is an Atkins cycle engine, I think designed more for fuel efficiency than for raw power. I get it, this is not a vehicle meant for carving canyons, but let's say that the wife and the family are at the Sisters and you've got yourself a Telluride and you happen to be in a canyon and you want to see how this performs. I certainly would. First thing you would probably do is put it in sport mode, right? So let's take it out of comfort and put it into sport, which firms up the steering, changes the way that the vehicle shifts, and gives me a little bit more control of what is essentially a big people mover. There's a lot of weight in this car. I mean, it can carry up to 8 passengers, so to do that, it's gonna have to be heavy. And sometimes when you're carving canyons in cars like the Pilot or the Highlander, you feel that weight. And yet in this Telluride, it feels relatively on its tippy toes. Yeah, it's not the sportiest of vehicles. I'm sure that you could probably find a vehicle like the BMW X7, which basically does the same thing, which has a little bit more inbred performance. But for a big and boxy family hauler, it's doing really well. The one thing that isn't grand is this engine. I'd like to see a turbocharger under the hood. I think Kia decided that they were going to dial this thing in for fuel economy versus raw power. So even though the EPA says you're supposed to get on the highway much better numbers, I'm getting a combined average of 19.2 from kind of our mixed highway and road driving. It's okay. It's not, you know, it's not Highlander hybrid area, but nevertheless, for a big family and somewhat boxy hauler, it's pretty good. Family haulers, at least in my book, are first and foremost about utility and space, and we'll get to that in a second, but secondly about fuel economy. I mean, if you're going to haul people around, you want to get good fuel economy. Now, the front-wheel drive version of the Telluride gets 20, 26, and 23 combined, and this all-wheel drive version gets 19, 24, and 21 combined. Now, how does that compare to the competition? Well, I've got the numbers right here. The Honda Pilot in the all-wheel drive version, 19, 26, and 22 combined, or 1 mpg better combined, and of course the Toyota Highlander, not the high, not the hybrid, but the regular one, 20, 27, and 23 combined, or 2 mpg better combined. So you get a little bit better fuel economy in the competition, but in this vehicle you get a lot more space. All right, I've got a beautiful bit of empty road here, and I've got a stopwatch. So shall we see how fast the Telluride is from 0 to 60 at not sea level, but above sea level? Big car, big engine, but I suspect it's not going to be the fastest vehicle in the world. So I've got a stopwatch. I'm going to do a little impromptu 0 to 60 right here and let you know just how fast it is. And 3, 2, 1. Here we go. That's 40. That's 55, 60. There you go. 8.95 seconds. 8.95. That's about right. Keep in mind we're not at sea level. This is certainly not a dragster by any means. Family haulers, which this really is, are all about utility. Now I'm sitting behind myself, and as you can tell, I've got plenty of legroom. I've got plenty of headroom, even with this second and third row massive sunroof. I also have something that's not unusual, but an option, and that is these captain's chairs. In the base model, the Kia comes with 2, 3, and 3 seating, basically allowing you to seat 8. And get this, optional second row heated and cooled seats make me feel like maybe a little bit in the BMW X7 instead of in Kia's biggest vehicle. So the question is, how much room do I have in the back? Let's find out. Of course, the third row is really where the rubber hits the road when it comes to these big family haulers, and I'm, of course, a big guy, 6'2", and I don't really fit back here. As you can tell, I have barely enough headroom, certainly not enough legroom. And the crazy thing is that, look at this, it's designed not for 1, not for 2, but for 3, and I'm gonna go with kiddos because this really is the kid-friendly, let's say 10 years or younger seating section of the vehicle. If you're stuck back here going to lunch, I bet you're gonna be raising your hand and shouting out shotgun on the way home. But the real question is, how much room do you have when you fold all these seats down? And that is the magic of this vehicle. So let's find out right now. Let's face it, a lot of people buy these 3-row crossovers because they hate the dreaded minivan. And this one, while it's not quite as big as a minivan, when all the seats are folded down, gets really close to that much space. So let's find out just how much room we have back here. First, when you open up the tailgate, you get 49 inches of width, which is really big. So with, of course, one button, I can take down that row, and now with a pull, I can take down this row. Looky there. And then here's the real magic. I have, get this, 87 cubic feet of space back here. Oh, come on. There we go. 87 cubic feet. Let me show you just how big that is. That is big enough for me, Nathan, and Andre to spend the night overlanding in this Kia, because it is really immense. And actually that is one of the larger in class cargo volumes when all 2 rows are folded back. Of course, the Achilles heel of all these 3-row vehicles is that there's never enough room behind the 3rd row, unless of course you're to the next size up, like an Expedition or perhaps even a Suburban. But let's see how much room there is. That's a typical backpack, so it's okay. I guess you could throw a couple bags of groceries back here. Once again, not a lot of room when you've got all 3 rows in passenger mode. So how off-road worthy is this Kia? Well, I'm here in Moab. I can find out. I thought to myself, shall I take it on Hell's Revenge? And I thought, ugh, this is probably not set up for Hell's Revenge. How about Fins and Things? That's another pretty famous trail, and I thought, probably not, especially since this car doesn't have an off-road mode. There are 5 modes, and the closest to off-road I'm going to get is actually snow mode. So I'm going to put in snow mode, I'm going to lock it into 4-wheel drive, and I'm going to do this relatively challenging bit of local off-roading, at least challenging for a car that has an approach angle that's not really designed for off-roading. This is a little bit tougher than a dirt road, but let's see how the vehicle does. Now keep in mind that the most important thing you need to go off-roading I don't have, and that is good tires. I've got All Seasons, which are great for all seasons, but they're not great for grip or actually being able to, like I said, provide me with a lot of grip. So let's talk about tires and wheels, and let's face it, these are not ideal for going off-road. The base model gets 18-inch wheels. We've got 20-inch wheels with all-season Michelins, which are great for all seasons, not so great for off-roading. Approach angle, 17 degrees, not too great. Departure angle, about 20 degrees. Ground clearance, 8 inches. Now to put that in perspective, an Outback would have 8.7 inches. And the cool thing about this all-wheel drive system, of course, is that it'll figure out where to send power. So when the wheels start spinning, hopefully the all-wheel drive system figures it out and says, okay, we've got a little bit of wheel spin here, and yeah, we're gonna send power to the wheels that have traction. And yeah, so far I'm impressed. Style-wise, of course, this takes Kia's tiger-nosed grille, you can see it right there, tiger-nosed windshield, to kind of the double XL level. It's big, it's in your face, it's brawny. I just got done driving the new BMW X7. In a lot of ways, this Kia reminds me of that vehicle. It's just XXL everything. It feels like it's in your face. It feels like it's square-jawed. It feels like it's purposeful. And you know what? That's a good way to be going down the road. 360-degree cameras. They really make off-roading so much safer and so much more, well, just pleasant, because I can't see over the hood, but with that front-facing camera I can see exactly what I'm about to run over or not. They might be wondering what makes for, you know, a good off-roader versus one that's not so good, one that's more road focused, like the Pilot, the Highlander, and even this Telluride. Well, of course, good approach and departure angles are important, ground clearance is important, but the most important thing is really tires. And the problem with 20-inch all seasons is pointy rocks and pointy sticks. It doesn't take a lot to puncture a sidewall. And then when you're out here by yourself, you all of a sudden have a slight problem, and that is, how do I get back to civilization when I have a flat tire and I'm 30 miles from Moab? And that's an issue that I don't want to explore today, at least not in this review. We'll come back here and we'll do some proper Hell's Revenge videos, and those are coming up soon for the Easter Jeep Safari, but I think this is about as steep and deep as I want to get with the Telluride, at least in its current configuration. I started this review by asking a very simple question. How much would you pay for this model as configured? Now, I'll give you a hint. Keep in mind that the base front-wheel drive model starts at about $33,000. Now, if I close my eyes and feel this scrumptious headliner, this really soft, perforated and double-stitched Napa leather, and I look around and I see that I not only have heated and cooled seats, but a heated steering wheel, that I have, check this out, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, plus wireless phone charging, a 12-inch screen with a surround view camera, another center screen that is configurable, a 650-watt 10-speaker Harman Kardon stereo, plus about every bit of safety tech that you can think of, including blindside monitoring, autonomous braking, lane keep. I mean, that just goes on and on. How much would you pay for that? I'll let you know at the end of this review. When you either turn left or turn right, you get a little camera between the dashboard that shows you what is on the right or left side of your car. Very handy, very intuitive, and takes what Honda's been doing to the next level, because Honda only does that on the right side, not on the left side. How cool is that? All right, I've made you wait long enough. I've got the Monroney to the vehicle right here. So as configured, this very top of the line Kia Telluride costs $47,255. Now, keep in mind that I just test drove the BMW X7, and feature for feature, this car isn't lacking that much from what you would get in an X7 that starts at, get this, $74,000. So yeah, Kia has always been about value. It's got one of the longest warranties in the business, 10 years. It really is a lot of car for not a lot of money. And sometimes that is probably the best thing I could ever say about a brand new vehicle. Yeah, I like it a lot. As always, this is Roman reporting for the Fast Lane Car. Check out tflcar.com for more news, views, and of course, real world Kia Telluride reviews. See you guys next time. Ciao. Full disclosure, Kia flew me out here to, well, Gateway, Colorado, even though I am from Colorado, to test drive this. And in case you're curious, this Telluride is now at your dealership.